In this training film, we will install the higher FlexFit model AB cassette type air handler. This air handler is designed and fit inside a standard 24-inch drop ceiling grid or may be installed in a drywalled ceiling. The cassette is mounted to the building structure using 4 threaded rods. In this video, we will install the cassette into a room that has a suspended drop ceiling. The cassette will be mounted to the building structure and suspended in the proper position so that the cassette louvers fit properly into the ceiling tile grid. Always select an installation location where the structure is strong enough to carry the weight of the air handler. Always be certain adequate support is available for the unit. Make certain that the desired location is within maximum allowable distances for refrigerant lines and electrical wiring. Make certain to maintain proper clearances around the cassette as specified in the installation instructions. Standard clearances for cassette air handlers require 5 feet of clearance in each direction. There should also be 8 feet of clearance from the face of the cassette louver to the floor. Inadequate clearances can cause system freezing and temperature control problems. Make sure there are adequate clearances for future maintenance and service. Allow enough room to access the condensate pump assembly and the electrical control box. Route refrigerant lines to the area where the cassette is to be located. Refrigerant line connections are flare type. The refrigerant lines should be connected after the cassette air handler has been securely mounted. Be certain the piping distance between the outdoor unit and the air handler are within specification limits. Follow all local codes and regulations when installing electrical wiring. Route required electrical power to the area where the cassette is to be located. Maintain at least a 3-foot separation between any television and radio wiring and the power to the indoor unit. The cassette unit has a marked area that can be cut out to attach ducting to if outdoor air is desired. The piping connection should be made with a 4-inch diameter galvanized pipe duct. Outside air should be pre-filtered prior to entry into the cassette. The 4-inch diameter duct bringing in the outside air should be insulated. Use the cardboard template that is included with the cassette unit to locate the center point of the cassette. Mark the mounting positions of the 4 threaded rods using the guide on the cardboard template. With mounting positions marked, install the threaded rods to the structure using appropriate fasteners. Lift the cassette and position the threaded rods into the 4 mounting clips located on each corner of the cassette unit. The clips are designed so the nut and washers on the threaded rod will hold the cassette in place as it is set onto the rods. Adjust the nuts on the threaded rods to obtain the proper mounting height. Next, make adjustments to the threaded rod nuts to obtain the perfect level across the bottom of the cassette. Prior to routing the refrigerant lines to the unit, install the flare nuts onto the end of the refrigerant lines. Using a flaring tool, flare the fitting connections. Remove the shipping caps from the refrigerant line connection fittings on the cassette unit. The holding charge in the cassette unit should now leak out. Connect both refrigerant line flare nuts to the indoor unit refrigerant line connections. Using a torque wrench, tighten the fittings to the appropriate inch pounds as indicated in the installation guide. After the total installation is complete and the system has been leak tested and evacuated, cover the refrigerant line connections with the insulated tape provided with the cassette unit. The cassette air handler has a built-in condensate pump and condensate safety switch. The discharge fitting of the condensate pump is shown here. The pump is capable of lifting water 2 feet from the bottom of the cassette assembly. A gray flexible connection hose is supplied with the cassette unit. The gray connection hose is connected to the condensate pump discharge pipe on the cassette body. The supplied clamp included with the hose should be tightened to secure the hose to the cassette unit. 3/4 inch PVC piping will fit into the end of the gray connection hose. Use 3/4 inch PVC piping to complete the connection to the condensate drain system. If higher water lift is needed, the water from the cassette condensate discharge pump should be pumped to another field-supplied condensate pump to increase to greater lift. Make certain the outdoor unit power is off and that the wires connecting the indoor unit are not connected to the outdoor unit. Remove the cassette unit's electrical box cover. Electrical wiring entry point is made by removing the rubber grommet at the indoor cassette unit. A half-inch conduit connector and reducing washers fits the hole where the grommet was removed. 14-gauge AWG stranded wire should be used to make the electrical connections between the indoor and outdoor units. This wiring will serve to power the indoor unit and establish a communication link between indoor and outdoor units. The wiring is connected at the indoor electrical terminal block, screws, terminals 1, 2, 3, and ground. There should be no splices in the wires connecting to terminals 1 or 3, as these serve as communication signal wires and also electrical power connections. If a safety switch needs to be in place to shut off power to the indoor unit, break wire 2 only. With the field installed wires attached to the proper screws at the indoor unit, the electrical wiring is completed. Place 2 mounting screws in the cassette housing to hang the cover. The cassette louver assembly cannot be attached to the cassette tub. Locate the 2 wiring plugs of the cover assembly. Make sure they do not become pinched when you attach the cover. A clip swings into position to hold the cover up for attaching the remaining screws. Make sure all the screws are tight. When completed, you can now attach and reinstall the electrical box cover. With the field installed wires attached to the proper screws at the indoor unit, the electrical wiring is completed. You can now attach the center filter grill. The indoor cassette unit is now ready to be checked for refrigeration and condensate water leaks. Once leak testing is completed, the wiring from the indoor unit can be connected to the outdoor unit, and the installation of other indoor units and the outdoor unit can proceed.